So we already talked about, some different financing options you could have for your business, but once you get your finances, you start get your business going, you're gonna need a business account to keep, your company finances separate from your personal finances, right? And opening a business account is not all that difficult. It doesn't take very long, especially if you do it online and you make sure you have all the right details that you need, all the right documents that you need. It won't take very long at all. Now, business bank accounts require, the requirements for them, it's going to vary based on the bank, your entity type, and of course the state where you formed your business. And we kind of want to go over like the different things you're going to need to open a business account and a couple of tips maybe to help you find the best bank for your small business. So the first thing we want to talk about, personal identification, right? Of course. Banks require a government issued photo ID. Think a driver's license or your passport, right? So that, that's how you're going to be able to open up that bank account, right? Some might ask for two, right? You might need a driver's license and a passport, or, a driver's license and, a utility bill or something like that. You also need to give your personal mailing address and contact information, along with your date of birth and your social security number. Businesses with multiple owners typically need to include, personal details and identification for every owner with about 25% or more ownership in that business. Now, just like you have a social security number, your business has an identification number as well, right? If your business has, an EIN or an employer identification number, you need to provide that along with any corresponding documents from the IRS. Sole proprietors and single member LLCs may be able to use their social security number, right? Now, one of the next things that we need to talk about is, all the details, right? Because the business account application is going to ask for the business name, the business address, as well as, your trade name or your, DBA name, if you have one, right? Now, beyond that, you're going to need to list your entity type. So, are you a sole proprietorship? Are you a partnership? Are you an LLC or a corporation? Right? And then you're also going to need to disclose the industry, you're in and the type of business that you're operating. Now, once you've got, all this stuff organized and you're ready to go, right? You need to organize other documents and agreements that you have, right? So, this is going to really like the documents that you're going to need to provide really depend on how your business is set up. Um, some of the common requirements for the different, entity types, you're going to have a sole proprietorship, right? So you're going to need like your business name registration certificate and a business license. Well, if you have a partnership, you need to have the partnership agreement, the business name registration certificate, the business license, and state certificate of partnership, right? Then we move on if you have an LLC. You have your articles of organization, your LLC operating agreement, and then your business license, right? And then you have corporations, which, again, articles of incorporation. Then you have your corporate bylaws, and then also your business license. All right, so each different entity type has different requirements, but some of them share quite a few of them, right? Well, when you go to open an account, just like if you were going to open a personal savings account or something like that, a lot of times they have like a minimum requirement, right? Like a minimum required to open the account that you deposit into. Now, this could be as little as $5. It could be as little as $1,000. Or maybe, you caught wind of like, a bank giving a deal out where you don't need to put any money into the account, right? It depends on the bank and, what's going on. But, there are different types of business bank accounts, right? You've got the business checking account, right? And this is going to be for everyday use, right? And you should keep in mind, included monthly transactions, ATM access, and, account and incidental fees. Then, of course, you've got business savings accounts. Now, this is better for long-term savings, right? Like if you want to put money to the side for a project that you want to do with your business for maybe like growth and expansion or whatever, or buying that piece of equipment that you need, right? And things to keep in mind with this account are going to be stuff like your APY, account fees, and then a lot of times there might be a minimum balance required to actually earn the interest in that savings account. And then, of course, another one is going to be merchant accounts. Now, this is going to be best for people who are accepting debit and credit card payments. And, you got to keep in mind that, the bundled merchant services, low transaction fees, and, there might be additional miscellaneous fees depending on, like how everything's working out for you. And, with merchant accounts, you need to keep in mind that you need to open a business checking account before you can get a merchant account, right? Now that we have almost all our documents in order, all of our identification stuff in order, you figured out what type of business bank account you're going to open. What business bank account are you actually going to choose, right? Well, consider what type of business bank account you need, right? And whether you want to open your account online or at a physical location in person. Then compare your business bank account options. Now, when you're doing this, there's a couple things that you might want to keep in mind, like a couple different factors that might sway your opinion one way or the other. So the first one's going to be monthly fees. Incoming monthly fees, outgoing monthly fees, right? Minimum balance requirements. We talked about that for the business savings account. Sometimes, in order to earn that interest, you need a certain amount of money in the account at all times. Like, you can never earn interest if the savings account goes below $500, right? And then, ATM access. Are you going to be able to withdraw and make deposits at an ATM? Or can you only do that in person in the bank? Or, how's that going to work? What about wiring money? Transfer and payment capabilities. Depends on, how much money you're sending, receiving. Can you do that? And then, of course, there's, incidental fees, like if someone stops payment, insufficient funds, overdrafts. Well, what if you're doing, what if it has online and mobile banking? Most banks have that, but not all. And then, of course, you always want to look out for additional features, bill pay, invoicing, or even integrations with other business tools, right? Some online banks, when you open a business bank account, they might have a bunch of extra tools for you to use and make things easier, right? So it's a bunch of different things that you can keep in mind when you're, choosing what you want. And remember, choose what's best for you. If someone tells you about an account, look into it first before just going into it, right? Always do what's best for you and always do your research. Hopefully, this helped point you guys in the right direction. If you liked the video, got some good information out of it, hit that like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, I'd appreciate it if you did. But until I see you guys in the next one, y'all be safe.